In today's video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of seller financing. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? It's Jamel Gibbs, your family-oriented entrepreneur. Welcome to another video. Listen, in today's video, I'm going to share the pros and cons of seller financing. The reason I'm sharing this is simple. Everything has pros and cons. There's good and bad to everything. And there's a lot of people looking into seller financing as an option, especially in today's market with high interest rates and things like that. There's a lot of benefits to seller financing for both the buyer and the seller. If you haven't had a chance to watch my video that I put out the other day on the reasons why you should be using seller financing, be sure to check it out up in the cards up at the top. So we're going to cover the pros first. The first pro when it comes to using seller financing is you have faster closings, right? At the end of the day, when you are using a mortgage company to get a loan, or you're going to an investor-friendly loan company who's going to provide you with the mortgage that you need in order to be able to purchase, let's say, a rental property, you're going to have to jump through all the hoops, and you're going to have to bend over backwards and sign all these documents and go through everything that they want you to do in order to be able to get that money out, right? So that can take 30 to 45 days to sign the loan documents, to get an appraisal done, to possibly get an inspection if you have to do that with the lender, to setting up the closing, to all of this other stuff. With seller financing is completely different. You can literally negotiate with a seller today. There's no documents and all of that stuff to go through. If the seller is agreeable, you can set up the closing for tomorrow, right? And obviously that depends on how quickly the attorney can close the deal. It really depends when it comes to closing your seller finance deals on how long it's going to take your title company, depending on the state that you live in, or attorney to be able to run the title, make sure you get a free and clear title on that property, and then set up the closing based on their schedule. So you can close a lot quicker when you're negotiating through seller financing, because you eliminate literally all of the other hurdles that you have to jump over in order to be able to get your deal closed. The second pro to seller financing is you have cheaper closings. So again, like I said previously, you don't have to get appraisals done. You don't have to sign mortgage documents and pay points and, pay for your mortgage and all of this other stuff that you have to do up front, loan origination and things like that. All of that stuff is eliminated when you're negotiating directly with the seller as an investor, and you get to save a lot of money. The only money that you're really going to pay are the closing costs when it comes to your attorneys or title company fees, as well as your regular standard closing fees. Okay, so you get to save a lot of money when you're using seller financing as well. So that's another pro for you. The third pro when it comes to using seller financing is you have flexible down payment options. What does that mean? Well, if you can negotiate no money down with a seller, or you can negotiate very little down with the seller versus having to put down 20% because it's a bank requirement, obviously that's going to be more beneficial for you as an investor, right? Or what if the seller wants $5,000 down and you have that? You can actually put that down. But the whole point is the flexibility is there. When you're looking to purchase rental properties, your objective is to keep as much of your money in your pockets as possible, because anything can go wrong on properties, right? So the less money you put down on a property, the better for you as an investor. If you don't have a lot of money, this is probably one of the better ways to invest in real estate, to buy rental properties, because you don't have to be capital intensive right up front. And the fourth pro to seller financing as a buyer or an investor is this is a great way to be able to negotiate getting a mortgage on a property without having to qualify for a mortgage. So if you don't have great credit, if, again, I've done videos on this. One of my most famous videos right now is how to buy your first rental property even if you're broke. That's that video right there that just popped up on the screen. That video explains to you exactly how to buy rental properties using seller financing. Seller financing is a great alternative to going to the bank and getting a mortgage and not having the best financial situation for yourself, but being able to acquire real estate in that respect, right? So you don't need perfect credit. At the end of the day, what you want to be mindful of is the sellers are really flexible. All they want to do is sell their property, and if they can make additional money while doing that, which, in the form of seller finance, and they can do that, you won't have to qualify. You don't need a 650 credit score or 750 credit score to do this. You can have a 500 credit score, a 480 credit score, if it even goes that low, and be able to acquire real estate through seller financing. Again, not having perfect credit. Now, those are just 4 pros when it comes to seller finance. And obviously there's going to be some cons as well, right? So let's jump into the cons right now. So some of the cons when it comes to seller financing can be higher interest rates, right? Now, this was true when mortgage rates were really low. Most sellers wanted a little bit more in interest in order to be able to finance the deal for you. Most savvy sellers will ask for more money because it makes sense for them to do this when you don't have to go to the bank and get a mortgage. So like anything else, that can be one con, but to be honest with you, there's also flexibility as well, right? So if you're dealing with a seller who truly just wants to get rid of the property, you can negotiate as little as 0% interest on your payments. So although higher interest can be a con, there's also a positive side to that, to where if you're dealing with the right type of seller, and on this channel I talk about dealing with distressed real estate, so whether it be physical or financial distress, you're going to be negotiating the best terms, not only for yourself, but also for the seller. But if you can help the seller while getting a 0% interest rate, which we do all the time on our real estate deals, you can get a really good real estate deal by doing so. But one of the cons, like I said, it can be higher interest rates based on the market conditions. The next con to seller financing and asking sellers for seller financing is they may not want to do it. You run into a lot of sellers when you're negotiating who just want the cash and they just want to walk away from the property, and that's fine, right? This isn't for everybody. You're not trying to convince everybody to do this. You're specifically dealing with a certain type of seller who just wants to get rid of the property. You have to deal with sellers who are in distress. And it's not like you're looking to take advantage of these people. You're absolutely not. What you're doing is you're helping them get out of their situation by creating an opportunity that's creative on your end, allowing you to pick up another property and possibly allowing them to have a monthly income coming in off of the property while they're selling the property. So there's benefits there. But, again, one of the cons can be you're just not finding the people who want to do seller financing on their properties. Another con that you might have when it comes to seller financing is the due on sale clause. Now, typically, this won't take place if a property is free and clear. But if you're doing, let's say, a subject to deal or a wraparound mortgage or something along those lines, this can take place. And subject to and wraps are a form of seller financing. I've purchased a ton of real estate and I've done a ton of creative real estate deals. I've never, ever, ever, and I'm not saying that this is never going to happen, but I've never, ever, ever come across a situation where the bank wanted all their money up front and they exercised the due on sale clause, ever. And I do these deals all the time. Banks just want their money. Banks are not in the real estate business. They don't want to take the house back. They don't want to go through all the hoops to be able to make that happen. Banks are in the money business. They just want to be paid. That's it. Whether you pay the bill or somebody else pays the bill, they just want the bill paid. But I'm not saying it's never going to happen. It is one of the cons to seller financing, to creative real estate investing, when you're dealing with subject tos and other forms of taking over people's mortgages. That is always going to be an option. The bank can call what's called a due on sale clause, which means that they want their money due right now because they saw that the seller technically transferred the title over to you as the investor. So that's obviously one of the cons that you're going to deal with as an investor when you're purchasing properties using creative financing, seller financing, and things like that. And the last one is the balloon payment. The balloon payment can be a con, especially for you as an investor. If you are promising that you're going to pay off the rest of the note at a certain amount of time, and then you don't qualify for a mortgage at that time, you lose out on all your money you have into the property. You lose out on the deposit, all the payments, the money that you put into rehabbing the house and everything. Now, obviously, this is a pro for the seller, but it's a con for you. So it is a little bit of a risk that you're taking there, but you just got to make sure all of your ducks are in a row when you're going this route so that you can cash out on the other end. Plus, you can always renegotiate later on. If you have a really good payment history with the seller, guess what? The seller might extend it. You know, we've dealt with that before where we didn't want to go and get a mortgage. And we just went to the seller and say, hey, how you feel about extending our agreement that we have? So you can always renegotiate. The sellers always are interested in collecting more money unless they had plans with that money at that time. But most people who take on seller financing are usually flexible. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell. Let me know what other types of videos you want to see. Also, if you're doing creative financing, what's some of the pros and cons that you've come across when it comes to real estate? Leave a comment in the comment section. I'm happy to look at those comments, and you might teach me something as well. I'm always looking to learn. All right. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.